Hi, good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, you guys. Um, it has been a week, y'all. It's just March 1st, and first part of the month, y'all. And I don't know about you guys, but the days, the hours, the months, whatever, they have all been going by pretty fast, pretty swiftly for me. As I'm assuming for some of you guys as well. And so I'll just give you guys a few minutes to pop on. I hope that your week has been going well. I hope you guys have been productive. I hope that you guys have been taking some of the stuff that we talk about here at the Mental Wellness Sanctuary and actually just, applying it to your life. I'm hoping that you have been able to use some of this information that I'm sharing with you guys. And also, being able to share the information with other people who you feel like might need it. So, I am Francis. I am licensed mental health therapist. I am life coach, business coach, and consultant here in Jacksonville, Florida. I specialize in a couple of areas, you guys. So, just to give you guys a little bit of background for those of you that are new that are joining me, I thank you for joining me here at the Mental Wellness Sanctuary. Like I mentioned before, I am a licensed mental health therapist here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm also a life and business coach as well, specializing in the area of childcare as well as mental health practices. I am also a qualified supervisor, guys. So, for those of you that know of somebody that is looking for supervision and they are a registered mental health counseling intern, I am open and available to be able to support somebody that's coming up to help other people tap into their dreams and tap into their goals, you guys. So, I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining me this evening. We are going to be talking about actually a topic that I think is really necessary. However, I it's something that I came from my book. So I know some of you guys that have been following me for a little while. You guys may know that I published my first book a little while ago. It's called Mask Off. Embracing self-care for the inside out. I also oh yeah, to tell you guys about that. So I finally did get the next workshop together, which I said is going to be a spinoff from this book. I just posted that not too long ago with the QR code and everything for you guys to be able to um, register for that if you desire to do so. So that will be going out if I haven't already done it. It's probably scheduled to be sent out. So for those of you guys that are interested in attending that workshop we will be talking about just how to embrace self-care from the inside out. And what I mean by that is being able to put yourself in this position to where um I don't know about for you guys, but there was a season and a time where I would go out and do my self-care stuff, whether that be nails, hair, massage, hanging out, go on vacation, and then you will come back home or come back to the things that had you stressed out in the very beginning. And so in that workshop, I will be teaching you some tools, some things to get you guys to be kind of aware of what could be draining you and just kind of sort of go from there. So if you guys are interested in participating in that, you will see that flyer going around starting this evening. That class is going to be the first week of April. I want to say April the 6th. It's from 12 to 2. It will be in person and virtual. So if you definitely cannot be in the place, then I definitely would want you to join me virtually. I think it's something that's very important because and I'm not sure about some of you guys, but for the season that I feel like I am walking into, I need to make sure that I am actually taking the best care of myself and that I am stewarding properly over the things and the people that God has entrusted me with. So, without further ado, guys, I don't predict that I'll be before you guys very long. It was just a topic of conversation that I wanted to bring to the surface, which is talking about what masks do you wear. Now, inside of my book, this was actually a topic of conversation that I had inside of the book because there was a spell or a season in my own life where this was 2015, 2016, I want to say, that I was in this particular season, in this particular place where um, I found myself feeling very stagnant. I found myself feeling very empty. I found myself feeling kind of inauthentic. authentic, I want to say. And I also found myself just not in a place that I desired to be. And I don't even know how I came up with it, or if I came up with it alone because it's been so long ago, but I do remember um trying to understand, I guess, why I was feeling that way. Even though I felt like personally I had been moving in the direction that I should have been. I know at the time I probably was going to school, working on my master's. I want to say I was, working and different things like that, but I still just was not in the place that I desired to be. And so I had to take a little bit of, oh gosh, what is it called? I had to take a little bit of an inner look. At the time, I was um, working, I was in my master's, and my professors all suggested that all the counselors to be counseled so that way we would know what it would be like to be a client, but also a therapist. Y'all, that was the best idea since sliced bread. For those of you that don't have therapists, oh, you should get one. They are sent from the Lord. Anyway, so at that time, I went because I really didn't. I was going because I was assigned to go, but I actually ended up needing exactly what that was. So that was getting myself a therapist and understanding what it was like to be the client. So anyway, during that time, during my work with her, she had me to identify some of the things that I had going on, some of the reasons why I might have felt stagnant, just different things like that. And so what ended up happening was I discovered that I was kind of sort of hiding behind some masks. So I don't know if you guys are able to see this on the front of my book cover. I have different masks that are there. So one of them talks about doubt, failure, worry. This one says empty, rejection, anxiety, lonely, fear, and control. And so I don't know. She gave me this summary, this analogy that these were things that I could have been hiding behind. Now, not all of these are specific to me, but I didn't realize that I was hiding behind certain ones. So one of the main ones that comes up the most, and I think we'll do a live about this because I think it's something that some of us struggle with, especially if you're somebody that likes things done a particular way or presented a particular way. It's really hard. So for me, I'll just talk about me because I can only talk about myself, guys. But one of the masks that I was able to identify was perfectionism. Um, and if things didn't line up the way that I wanted them to be, if they didn't look the way I wanted it to look, if it didn't go the way that I wanted to go, then I would just not move or I would drag my feet or whatever the case may be. So, with that being said, with my work with my therapist at the time, she had me to kind of go back and try to figure out where that came from. So, anytime I do work with clients, but I'm going to say this to you guys since we're on this live, anytime I make a revelation about something that I have going on, I always try to get to the root of that thing because if we can get to the root cause as to why we behave a certain way, think a certain way, respond a certain way, it'll help us to understand where that problem came from and ultimately help us to be able to kind of uproot that problem and maybe replace it with something that's a lot more productive, a lot healthier, whatever the case may be. So at the time, she had me trace it back. And by the time I did all the tracing back, y'all, I came up with a few things. One of the main things that I was kind of struggling with the most was about the perfectionism anyway, was the fact that I always wanted to present myself in a particular way. And I felt like if I was struggling with something or managing something or handling something, that I would be viewed as somebody that was weak, possibly somebody that couldn't handle certain things, different things like that. And that was not the image that I wanted other people to see. I didn't want people to see me struggling. And this was at a time, y'all, way back when I know we say it now more nonchalantly, but like at a time it's like it's okay to not be okay. And so but besides that, because I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it was okay to not be okay. I felt like I had to always have my stuff together. I felt like I had to always show up. So because of that, I hid behind that mask of perfectionism, y'all. Unless you personally knew me at that time, most people had no idea that I was actually struggling with a lot of different things. I was struggling with my self-esteem and self-confidence at the time. I was struggling with not meeting expectations that I had placed upon myself. I was struggling with a lot of broken relationships. Just a number of things, trying to manage since a single mom. For those of you guys that don't know me, at the time I do still have a child on the spectrum, with special abilities and different things like that. So there was a lot of things, guys, that I was trying to manage, all while going to school, all while trying to work, and also all while trying to, better myself, to put myself in a better position or situation, so that I can be a better steward over, the things that God had given me or whatever. And so that was a lot of pressure, y'all, that I don't think that I actually really realized how much it was impacting me until I got to that place where I was just like, okay, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to keep this facade up. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to pretend like I'm okay. And I don't know about y'all, but I know a lot of us will walk around here every single day pretending to be okay when internally we really are not. Internally, we are struggling. Internally, we are tired. Internally, we are battling back and forth with our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own emotions. And then, for those of us that are, and I'll get to this part in a minute, but for those of us that are around, we have other roles and responsibilities, right? And we're also responsible for those other roles and responsibilities. And if we're honest, they're not things that we can just disregard and toss off to the side. We are assigned, we are moms, we are wives, we are spouses, we are business owners, we are grandparents, we are godparents, we're aunts, we're daughters, we're, you know, everything. And all of those roles, they come with something. They come with some responsibility, they come with something. So anyway, um just to push it along, I felt like I had to keep this S on my chest all the time. And I know for women, this is a common thing among women when I talk to some of my clients, but I also realized that this was also something that impacted men as well. So I don't know about how many of you guys, but I felt like I had to have that S on my chest. So at the end of the day, I had to let the S go, y'all, because the S was about to take me out. So, I identified one of my masks as being perfectionism. And that perfectionism kept me in a stuck and stagnant place, especially when God asked me to go forward. I'll give you guys an example. When it first came to me that God wanted me to do certain things, especially when it came to like doing lives or recording videos or whatever it was, y'all. Um, I literally would record something. If I tripped over a word, I stopped the whole thing. I record it again. If he told me to post something, if I couldn't tweak the words exactly the right way, or I couldn't get it the way I wanted it, or whatever the case may be, y'all, I would not post it. And so for me, it put me in a position to where I did not really move as quickly as I felt like I could have, and different things like that. So y'all, perfectionism had me, it had your girl by the chokehold. And don't get me wrong, I'm a recovering perfectionism person that struggles with that. I'm not nearly as bad as I used to be, but y'all, there was a time for those that know me. Bless y'all hearts. Bless y'all hearts that have been with me for an extended period of time dealing with me and my perfectionism. However, so of course, I hope you guys have your pen and your paper because I'm definitely going to be asking you guys some questions today. So, for those of you that are listening or watching me this evening, what mask are you wearing? Now, besides perfectionism, guys, there was a time where I was wearing a mask of loneliness, and connected to the loneliness will have you connecting to the wrong things and the wrong people. And that was for a season as well. I also struggled with uh, abandonment and rejection. Um, you know, being a daddyless daughter, I felt that abandonment. I felt rejected. I felt those things. And so it showed up in how I did relationships and friendships and how trustworthy of people I was and different things like that. So, really at the end of the day, these masks, they show up in how we do or don't do life. If you are somebody that struggles with the same things, rejection or abandonment, where your attachments to relationships might be very interesting, it might be very complicated. Um, that is just an example. If you wear the mask of fear whenever God asks you to step out and do something, or whenever there's a business venture that you need to get started, or whatever the case may be, you might be resistant to start that because of fear. Fear has you gripped. Well, so and so does this, and so does so and so do that. So why would I go out there and become a life coach if everybody else is already life coaching? Well, guess what? They are not you. You may have a different sound. You may be called to a different set of people. And so because of that, you want to make sure that you are not selling your not only yourself but others that need what you have short as well. So besides the mask that you're wearing, I just want you to write that down. Once you write down what mask that you are wearing, I want you to possibly try to trace back to a time where you might have developed that mask from. I can identify where my mask of perfectionism and all of that stuff came from. I can identify it at the root of where it came from and why it came to be. Um, so that is something that I want you guys to write down. Um, so where did you get your mask from? No, what mask are you wearing? Sorry. And then where did you get it from? The next question that I have for you guys, and I'm skipping through all of this because I don't want to drag it out. I just wanted to raise some awareness for you guys about this particular topic. And I want you, after you identify the mask that you're wearing, after you possibly can identify the root cause of that mask, then I want you to think about how that particular mask is showing up for you in your life today. So, how is that mask showing up for you in your life today? Do you feel like it is helping you? Do you feel like it is not helping you? Where is that mask showing up for you in your life? I know, because if we're honest, we can identify a lot of masks, and we can identify exactly how they are showing up in our lives. And I'm always talking to you guys about awareness because I want you guys to be aware of the things that you personally have going on and how they could be impacting your future, how they could be impacting your destiny, how they could be impacting your relationships, your friendships, your business partnerships. And we're not just talking about things right now. We're also talking about things of the future as well, guys. So this is really important for you to be able to identify the mask that you're wearing. Um, yes, Natasha, absolutely. Everyone wears masks. However, the impact of masks matters the most. Yes. And I think, one of the things that was the hardest was that depending on your mask, um, sometimes it smothers or it stifles who we are actually called to be, or how well we can perform, or how, you know what I'm saying, how, trying to make it like word it right so that it makes sense. Hopefully I'm making sense, but it can directly stifle or smother the best qualities of you. It could definitely put you in a position to where you don't show up the way that you could or should. um I know a lot of people say, we have two versions of ourselves. Um, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but I'm not also saying that it shouldn't be so widespread, like, that people are like, well, shoot, who is this person? And the only reason why I talk about the mask as well is because if it's something that you really need to work on that really hinders you, if you hide behind the fact that, and pretend to be something that you're not, can you do something or remove that mask or work through that so that you can show up the way that you truly desire to show up? And so that's why I challenge people about their mask a lot. especially if that mask is impacting you in a not so good way. If it impacts you in a not so good way. Um, and then I think I don't know that. See, I didn't have a whole lot, y'all. I didn't have a whole lot, but I did have those questions. What did I put it? Oh yeah, okay, there it is. All right, so post that, y'all. Post those questions. Um, once you identify those masks, once you possibly identify the root to those masks, I want you to think about how they show up in your life. And the last part is, again, do you feel like it's beneficial for you? Do you feel like it's helping you? Do you feel like it's hindering you? Keep in mind, you guys, this conversation about masks is not for you to identify the masks that you have and say, oh, I need to pull them off. Now, there are some masks that kind of help us be able to navigate life and balance life and do certain things, right? Until we're in a healthier space, until we're in a better space, until we're in whatever space, then we don't have to do that anymore. Sometimes we do have to use that to kind of help us get there, but we can't let it become a crutch. We can't let it begin to impact our lives in a negative way. Um, how do they show up in your life, right? How do they impact your choices? If you're a person that uh doesn't typically do certain things, and then you put on this mask and you're out doing things that you typically don't do, and then you end up finding yourself in a bad situation. um that kind of stuff, it gets to be a bit much, y'all. um Yes, could some of those masks be in place to protect us? Absolutely. Especially if you're still um working through a particular area that you're still growing in or healing in or working through, they can definitely be in place to protect you. But we have to be mindful of the protection part of it, because for some people they use it as a barrier. For some people to use it like, this is just who I am, this is how I am, this is what it is, and they're not willing to be flexible, not willing to grow, they're not willing to do certain things. So yes, we could use them to kind of protect us, especially if you're not good at setting boundaries. They say, for instance, you put up a mask of what's a good mask for boundaries? You might not be as trusting. And so you put up this mask, because you've dealt with mistrust in the past, you have that mask up, right? And because you've dealt with that, you utilize that mask of mistrust to kind of help you filter through people. Maybe until, Holy Spirit says this person is cool, or, whatever the case may be. But then after that, we shouldn't allow that mask to still stay there. Like it should have possibly an expiration date, especially in situations where that this person is okay. Like, people shouldn't be having to bust down and tear down walls of mistrust because you're just struggling with that mask and unable to let it go, especially when that person has not, or those people have not, done anything to you. So, and I talk a little bit about some of these things inside of my affirmation cards. I definitely talk about this inside of the book. So inside of the book here, Mask Off, because that's the title of the book, right? So Mask Off, and inside of the book, how you could use the book to kind of help you identify those masks that you're wearing. So I didn't take everything verbatim from here, guys, because just in case you guys wanted to pick up a copy of the book, you can actually dive into it a little bit deeper. But I just took some bits and pieces from the book to kind of give you an idea of how you came to how you came to that example, how I came to that example, and kind of sort of what you can do to kind of work through that. So that way you can start identifying where they come from, the root cause. Some of those masks can be passed down from generations to generations. Just to give an example, some of the masks could be passed down culturally, like, strong Black women. So That's a mask that has been passed down to strong black to women, especially women of color. And it's like, okay, you got to be strong, you got to show up, you got to do this, you got to do that. So some masks can be passed down generationally, and I talk about a lot of that inside of this book right here. So do get a copy of it if you are locally here. If you're not, I will be happy to ship it to you. You can find it on my website. If you want a copy, you can definitely message me. I'll definitely get you one. Um, oh, somebody asked the question as far as how do you create an expiration date for each mask, especially if you have multiple masks. So in order to create an expiration date for the mask that you have, especially if you're using it to kind of protect yourself, once you identify the root of that, and then you're able to identify kind of sort of what it is that you need to do to work through that mask, then at some point in time, we would hope that you would get to a place of growth given that situation, because some situations are a lot harder to process depending on the trauma behind it, or certain things like that. But once you identify the mask and you identify where that mask came from, you should set something in place to kind of help you process that, so maybe you don't have to use that mask. Now, the time, the actual expiration depends on your dedication. It depends on your background work that you're doing with your therapist or whomever else you have assigned for something, for someone to help you or whatever. So all of those things can kind of help you pinpoint a time frame for your mask to expire. For me, I did not want to continue to operate from the place of perfectionism. So I first had to identify where that came from. Once I identified where that mask came from, I looked at how I was letting perfectionism impact my life presently. So like I talked about in business, and I talked about, lives and different things like that. And then I had to implement other things to do that put me in a position to where I could not exercise my perfectionism, but rather I had to exercise confidence, or I had to exercise something else in order for me to be able to, get that mask to have an expiration date. And every once in the blue moon, honestly, it may creep up depending on how big something is in front of me. But at the end of the day, I still post it, and I have changed my mindset about making sure that when I do decide to do that, that I am saying, hey, just get it out there. If it doesn't work or whatever, you can always do it differently next time. It came with a large mindset shift as well. That's also how you help create an expiration date for your mask. Okay. It's important. Mindset shift. Growth mindset, not fixed mindset shift. Um, have you ever considered doing a book club for your book for someone struggling with removing the mask or applying principles to that? Yes, I have thought about doing something similar. Maybe not a book club, but book club is an actually pretty good idea. And maybe I might think about that. I'll figure that out. I might think about that. I think that would be helpful, especially if we can glean from one another. I know here on live it's just mainly me chatting, but in a different type of setting, I think it would be very, very beneficial for other people to be able to, partner together, or maybe in a smaller, intimate setting that I think somebody might really enjoy or might really like. Um, to be able to have that powwow about things that they can do, principles that they can learn, how they can apply different things to your life, not necessarily just specific to the mask guys, but specific to other things. Of course, you guys know that I have my journal, Manifest, that's also available. And Manifest is a self guided journal that I put together. And it does talk about a lot of things, whether it's stagnation in your life, because let's be honest, some of us feel like we're a little stuck, we feel like we're not where we're supposed to be in life. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I don't like to be stuck. I don't like to be stuck anywhere. Um, and so, yes, my book here, my journal here, it asks those specific set of questions, um, about what it is that you can do, what kind of goals you can set, who needs to hold you accountable. Do you need an accountability partner? Being able to write your vision out for yourself. What does that look like for you, both professionally and personally? because some of us may feel stuck in our career, but not personally. And some people may feel stuck personally and not stuck in their career. So, I mean, it really just depends on what it is that you have going on. But manifest is something that definitely helps you to dig a little bit deeper into why you might be struggling with certain things. And of course, y'all, my personal favorites. I mean, all of my personal favorites, but my personal favorites is the Speak Life into Yourself affirmation cards, you guys. And so I am going to be revamping these very soon. I feel like there's some extra ones that I need to add, um, just based off of some other things that I have going on. But um, I know that I definitely will be revamping these very soon. But these is just an example of the Speak Life into Yourself affirmation cards. They're not your typical affirmation cards. I actually know people think that the affirmation cards are just repeated until you love it or believe it or whatever. But I always feel like there's work behind anything that we do. And so, with that being said, there is something that's on the front, right? And then there's scriptures at the bottom, and then there's a set of questions on each card that will help you figure out kind of sort of what it is that you need to do in order to accomplish whatever's on the front of that card, you guys. So again, I am Francis, your licensed mental health therapist, life and business coach here in Jacksonville, Florida, specializing in childcare and mental health, as well as your consultant. So if you guys need consultation services as far as maybe not necessarily the coaching piece, but you just need a little bit of guidance on how to get your childcare business started or how to start your private practice in mental health, I am definitely available for consultation or coaching in either one of those areas. If you are looking for personal coaching, remember, guys, coaching is a little bit different. So if you're in a good space, you just need some guidance, you just need some assistance, somebody to kind of help you along your process, whether that's business or um, personally, then I'm able to assist with that. I'm also open for new clients in counseling, you guys. So, counseling is if you actually have some real life stuff going on, some trauma, some anxiety, some depression, different things like that. You can definitely follow me on my website. You can follow me. You can find me on Psychology Today. You can find me on Growth Therapy and Headway, as far as counseling platforms. If you are looking for a therapist at this time, I am also accepting new clients for that as well. Don't forget, y'all, I'm still a qualified supervisor. So if you know of somebody that's a registered mental health counseling intern and they're looking for a supervisor, I am definitely available for that. The links for all this stuff is inside of the chat, as well as be on the lookout for that new workshop. The new workshop is going to be April 6th, and it's going to be in person as well as virtually. So if you can't be in a place, we would love to have you virtually as well, where we'll be talking about self care from the inside out. I feel like we should get to this place, you guys, where we are able to pour into others and not take too much from ourselves, or our cup still overflows when we do that. And how do we do that? Well, we got to take care of ourselves internally and externally, because whatever flows within is what flows externally, you guys. So, ah, that concludes this evening's Mental Wellness Sanctuary. Again, I'm your host, Francis McMillan, here in Jacksonville, Florida. You guys, if you feel like somebody could use this information, please don't hesitate to share this video with other people. Be sure to like the video as well, and to follow me on all my social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook, because I'm here now, TikTok, YouTube. You can also find me on Clubhouse as well, and it's under puzzle.peace. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. We will be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. with next week topic. I'm not sold on next week topic yet, so I haven't posted it yet. But you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.